I still don't understand why you keep this shop open, Sophie said, her voice sharp as glass. I set a box on the counter, dust rising from it. Because it's mine. Every nail, every shelf I built it. Daniel shifted uncomfortably beside her. She just means it's a lot for you now, Dad. Maybe you should think of slowing down. I forced a laugh. Daniel, this shop put food on our table. It kept the lights on when you were still in school. Sophie crossed her arms. And now, it's barely surviving. Daniel has bigger responsibilities. We can't always be tied down by sentimental things. Her words stung, though I kept my face calm. Sentimental? This isn't just wood and shelves. It's a lifetime of work. My life. Daniel's eyes darted between us. We're not trying to insult you, Dad. We're just thinking about the future. My future is here. And yours too, if you'd want it, I said softly. This shop could still be ours. Sophie's lips curled in a faint smirk. Ours? Daniel works in an office now. He's not meant to sit behind a counter waiting for customers who don't come. Customers still come, I muttered, though my voice lacked conviction. Daniel exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. Dad, I respect what you've done, but things change. Sophie's right. You don't have to carry this forever. Carry this. I looked at him, searching for the boy I raised. Daniel, after your mother passed, this shop became more than a business. It was our anchor. You helped me here. You laughed here. Don't tell me none of that matters. His gaze softened, then flickered away under Sophie's stare. I remember, but that was before what? I asked. Though I knew before life moved on, Sophie interjected. People outgrow old places, old habits. Daniel has a family to think of now. A family, I repeated, my chest tightening. So I'm no longer family. She shrugged. That's not what I said. It's what you meant, I whispered. Silence pressed between us, heavy and suffocating. The hum of the shop's old refrigerator filled the air. Daniel finally spoke. Dad, we're just asking you to consider options. Maybe rent this place out. Maybe sell it. It could give you comfort and us to sell it. My voice cracked. Daniel, how can you stand there and suggest that? He winced. You're just listening to her. I cut in louder than I intended. Sophie raised her chin. Or maybe he's thinking for himself. I clenched my fists to keep them steady. All I wanted was to welcome you, Sophie. I thought you'd be my daughter. But you look at me like I'm in your way. Her eyes narrowed, and for once she didn't deny it. Because you refuse to see reality, you hold him back. Daniel stepped forward quickly. That's enough. No, Daniel, let her speak, I said bitterly. Better to hear the truth than whispers. He looked torn, his voice low. Dad, please, don't make this harder. Harder. I laughed hollowly. Every day, I try to ignore the way you've changed with me. The coldness, the distance. Do you think I don't notice? He looked down at the worn floorboards, silent. You used to call me your rock, I whispered. Now I feel like a burden. Sophie's hand slipped into his. We only want what's best. You can't live in the past forever. I swallowed, the words bitter on my tongue. Maybe the past is all I have left. Daniel's eyes glistened, but he didn't speak. The clock on the wall ticked, each second a reminder of the widening gap between us. Finally, I forced myself to breathe. I'll keep the shop open, whether you stand with me or not. Daniel's jaw tightened. If that's what you want. It is, I said, though inside, I wondered if I'd already lost him. Sophie tugged his arm gently. We should go. He nodded, avoiding my eyes. As the door closed behind them, the silence wrapped around me. I touched the counter, the wood warm under my palm, and whispered to no one, blood should be thicker than this. Why are you stacking them that way? Sophie's voice carried across the shop. I froze with a box in my hands. Because that's how customers see them best. Front-facing, easy to grab. She smirked. Maybe 30 years ago. No one shops like that anymore. You waste space. Daniel, leaning by the register, tried to smile. Sophie, it's fine. Dad has his system. Her eyes narrowed at him. Your father refuses to adapt. That's the problem. If he cared about the shop's future, he'd listen. I set the box down slowly. I've kept this place alive through storms, recessions, and droughts. Don't talk to me like I don't care. She shrugged. Then why is the shop empty most days? Because people don't value small places anymore, I said quietly. She looked at Daniel. See, excuses. He drains himself, and you too. You should focus on your own family, not on patching up his old dream. My heart thudded at her words. Daniel, is that what you think? He shifted uneasily. I don't know. Maybe Sophie has a point. The floor felt unsteady beneath me. You used to love working here. That was different, he muttered. That night, I heard their voices through the thin walls. He's controlling. Daniel, Sophie hissed. He ties you down. You'll never grow if you keep running back to him. He's my father, Daniel whispered. And he's draining you. Even my mother sees it. She told me no man should be shackled to his father's mistakes. I gripped my pillow, fighting the urge to burst into their room. Instead, I lay still, the poison in her words seeping into me. The next morning, Daniel avoided my eyes. You're not coming today? I asked. He shook his head. I've got work at the office. They need me. But you promised to help unload stock. I can't, Dad. I'll try later. He grabbed his jacket and left before I could answer. Sophie appeared in the doorway, her smile thin. He's busy with real responsibilities now. Don't guilt him. I swallowed back the ache in my chest. I never wanted to guilt him. I only wanted him beside me. She tilted her head. Maybe that's the problem. Later that week, as I swept the front, Tonya from next door called over. Everything all right in there? She asked, leaning against her fence. I forced a smile. Of course, just a little quiet these days. Her brow furrowed. I hear things, arguments late at night. You okay? I lowered my gaze. Families argue. It'll pass? She studied me for a moment. You raised that boy on your own. Don't let anyone turn him against you. Her words cut deep because I feared it was already happening that evening. I found Daniel sitting at the table, scrolling on his phone. Son, I said, sitting across from him, do you remember when we painted the shop blue? You held the brush and ruined your shoes. A faint smile tugged at his lips. I remember. Back then, you told me we'd run it together forever. You said it was ours. He sighed. I was a kid. Dad, you weren't just a kid. You meant it. I know you did. His eyes flickered, but Sophie's footsteps in the hall made them hard again. Life changes, he said flatly. Does it change love too? I whispered. He didn't answer. Sophie entered, sliding her arm around him. Stop pressuring him. He's building his future, not clinging to your past. I stood, my throat tight. Daniel, please, don't forget where we came from. He looked at me, but his eyes were distant, unreachable. Sophie's hand tightened on his. He won't forget, but he won't be trapped either. I turned away. Gripping the chair to steady myself, the air felt thick, poisoned by every word she spoke. When I closed my eyes that night, I whispered a prayer, not for the shop, not for myself, but for my son too. Remember that before her voice, before the poison, there was us. Daniel, why didn't you show up again? I asked as he entered the shop, his steps heavy. He dropped his keys on the counter because I had other things to do. You promised? I know what I promised, he snapped, cutting me off. I froze. Son, this isn't you. Why are you speaking to me like this? Sophie stepped inside behind him, her eyes sharp. Because he's finally telling the truth. You cling to him like he's still a boy. My chest tightened. I never clung. I held on when no one else would. After your mother. Stop. Daniel shouted, his face red. Don't use that. Don't keep reminding me of what you did. I know what you did. I'm grateful, but that doesn't mean you get to control me forever. My breath caught. Control you? Is that what you think I've been doing? Yes, he said coldly. Every time I try to step forward, you pull me back here. To this shop. To your life. I can't breathe. Sophie's hand slipped into his. Tell him what you told me. He hesitated, then said the words that pierced me. We don't need you anymore. The air collapsed around me. Daniel, you can't mean that. I do, he whispered, though Sophie's firm gaze held him steady. You're my son, I pleaded. My only son. How can you say you don't need me? Because I have a family now. Sophie and I will build our life. Without this weight, without you holding me down, I felt my knees weaken. All I ever did was give you everything I had. Every coin, every drop of sweat, every heartbeat, and now I'm a weight. His eyes flickered, but Sophie's grip tightened on him. You've done enough, she said firmly. It's time to let go. I reached for Daniel, my voice trembling. Do you really want to cut me off? Your father? The man who raised you, his silence was my answer. Finally, he said it. Yes. I staggered back, my hand on the counter to steady myself. Then go. Both of you, if I am no longer needed, leave me with what I built. Sophie's lips curved in victory. We will. Daniel's gaze lingered on me one last time, but the warmth was gone. Then they turned and walked out. The door closed with a final thud that echoed through my chest. The shop was silent. Too silent. I sank onto the chair, staring at the shelves that once carried laughter, arguments, dreams. Now they felt like gravestones. Later, outside, whispers followed me. That's the one, someone muttered. His own son left him. I lowered my head as neighbors looked away with pity. Their silence cut sharper than their words. That night, the shop hummed faintly with the old refrigerator, the ticking clock marking every second of my loneliness. I walked the aisles slowly, touching the counters, the faded paint, the photographs pinned on the wall to Neil as a boy, his smile wide, a paintbrush dripping in his hand. Was it all in vain? I whispered to the emptiness. The bell above the door jingled. I turned quickly, my heart racing, half hoping Daniel had come back. But it was Mr. Khan, the old man with kind eyes who had shopped here for decades. Evening, he said gently. I heard what happened. I tried to smile, but my lips shook. Everyone heard. He walked slowly to the counter, leaning on his cane. Let them talk. Their whispers mean nothing. They mean everything when you're alone, I muttered. Dottie placed a bag of rice and flour on the counter. You are not alone. This shop is still here. And so are people who believe in you. I swallowed hard. Mr. Khan, I built all of this for Daniel. Without him, it feels empty. He nodded slowly. Children grow, sometimes away from us, but the work you did, the sacrifices you made, they don't vanish. They live here, in these walls, in you. Tears stung my eyes. But what if I can't keep going? He met my gaze firmly. Then you take one step at a time. You open the door each morning. You keep the shelves stocked. That is survival. And sometimes survival is enough. His words settled over me like a fragile blanket. For the first time since Daniel walked out, I felt something other than despair. Faint spark deep inside me, refusing to die. Thank you, I whispered. He patted my shoulder. Don't thank me. Prove me right. Don't let this place or yourself fade. When he left, the silence returned, but it was different. Not as heavy. I stood behind the counter, breathing slowly. I still felt broken, abandoned, but somewhere inside, that small spark flickered, whispering that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't finished yet. Your shelves look better than last week, Mr. Khan said. As he leaned on his cane near the counter, I wiped sweat from my forehead. I've been reorganizing. Thought maybe if the place looked newer, people would notice. He nodded. They will? You're still standing. And that counts for something. I laughed softly. Standing isn't the same as thriving. Sometimes, he said, survival is enough. Thriving will come later. His words gave me a little air to breathe, but bills piled higher than promises. I stayed open late, adjusting displays, practicing with the old computer register, learning how to track things online. Customers were younger now, with fast voices and faster eyes. I tried to keep up. One evening, as I wrestled with boxers, a young woman walked in. "Excuse me, are you hiring?" she asked, brushing hair from her face. I looked at her, surprised. "Hiring? No one's asked me that in years," she smiled nervously. "I live nearby. I need work, and I don't mind long hours." Something in her voice reminded me of myself when I first built this place, hungry, determined. "What's your name?" "Maya." I extended my hand. Then, "Maya, welcome." I could use someone who still believes in work. From that day, she became my shadow in the shop. "Stack them like this," I told her one morning, showing how to line the cans. She frowned. "But if we angle them, people can read the labels faster." I hesitated, then chuckled. "Maybe you're right? Try it your way." She grinned. "See? Already making progress." Her energy drew in younger customers, students with backpacks, children tugging on parents. She talked easily, laughed often, something the shop hadn't heard in months. "Employee is good," Mr. Khan told me one afternoon. "She's more than good," I admitted. "She makes this place feel alive again." At night, though, when the laughter faded and the lights dimmed, the silence returned. I sat alone, staring at the door, half hoping Daniel would walk through. One night, I confessed it aloud to Mr. Khan. "I still wait for him," I said quietly, "even knowing he won't come." Mr. Khan sighed. "A father's heart doesn't close, no matter how deep the wound. It bleeds every day," I whispered. "I bury it under work, but it's still there." He placed his hand gently over mine. "Then let it bleed, but don't let it kill you. Pain means you are still alive, still fighting." His words steadied me. Maya noticed too. "You work too hard," she said one evening as we closed. "I don't have a choice," I replied. "You do? You can lean on people, on me." I looked at her, surprised. "Why would you want to carry my burden?" She shrugged. "Because you gave me a chance when no one else did. That matters." Her loyalty reminded me of what I once shared with Daniel before Sophie's whispers stole him away. Rumors reach me sometimes. Neighbors said Daniel and Sophie lived comfortably in the city, driving new cars, eating at fine places. I tried not to listen, but every word cut deeper. "You still miss him," Maya said gently one night. "I always will," I admitted, "but missing him won't stop me from keeping this place alive." She smiled. "Then we'll keep it alive together." Her words lit a spark in me, the same one Mr. Khan had kindled. Perhaps survival wasn't just about "Click here, then upload the picture," Maya explained, tapping the dusty old laptop I had nearly given up on. I squinted at the screen. "And people will see this online." She laughed. "Thousands could, maybe more." I shook my head. Unbelievable. I spent years waiting for customers to walk through that door, and now they'll buy with a button. "Exactly. You'll see," she said, her fingers flying across the keyboard. By the next week, orders trickled in small ones at first, then larger. Boxers piled near the counter, and my evenings stretched longer. "You should rest." Maya warned as I taped another package late at night. I'll rest when the shop breathes again. I replied, "You're going to collapse." I smiled faintly. "Then I'll collapse standing up." Mr. Khan noticed too. "You're thinner?" he said, frowning as he picked up rice. "Working harder than ever," I admitted. "Don't kill yourself, proving you're alive," he muttered. I nodded, though my chest ached from fatigue. Still, each order felt like a lifeline. One afternoon, a man entered with a notepad and camera. "Are you the owner?" he asked. "Yes," I said cautiously. "Who's asking?" "Local paper. I've been hearing about this shop's comeback. Wanted to see for myself." Maya grinned. "Told you people were noticing." The journalist scribbled. "What changed? Most old shops fade, but you're rising." I glanced at Maya, then back at him. "I adapted, or rather, she forced me to. New methods, old heart. Maybe that balance works." He chuckled. "Good line. May I quote you?" "Quote whatever you like," I said. As he left, Maya nudged me. "See? You're becoming famous." I rolled my eyes. "I only want to survive." That evening, whispers reached me from neighbors. "Did you hear? Daniel's struggling. Sophie spends too much. They say he can't keep up." I kept sweeping the floor, pretending not to hear, but the words lodged inside me. Later, Maya noticed my silence. "What's wrong?" she asked. "People say Daniel and Sophie are in trouble," I murmured. Her eyes softened. "Do you feel glad?" I shook my head. "No. Just sad. We could have built something together. He could have had this." She placed a hand on my arm. "Some people only learn when it's too late." I sighed. "I don't want it to be too late for him." The next morning, the journalist returned. "Your story will run in tomorrow's paper," he said, snapping a photo of me behind the Conteri, groaned. "Do you have to capture all the wrinkles?" He laughed. "They show survival." Maya clapped her hands. "You'll be the face of old meeting new." "More like tired meeting exhaustion," I muttered. Still, when the paper came out, customers arrived curious. "I read about you," a young woman said. "Didn't know this shop was still here." "Alive and fighting," I replied with a smile. Day by day, sales grew. Online orders doubled. Maya kept pace, teaching me shortcuts, pushing me forward. I invested every penny back into the shop. New paint, better lights, fresh shelves. "You should keep some for yourself," Maya argued. I shook my head. "The shop is me. If it grows, I grow." But my body disagreed. Nights left me trembling with exhaustion, mornings stiff with aches. I coughed often, though I hid it. "You're pushing too hard," Maya scolded one evening as I rubbed my chest. "I can't slow down," I whispered. "Not now. Not when I finally see life returning." She sighed. "Then let me carry more." "You already carry enough," I said softly. "But thank you." Despite the pain, I felt alive in the hum of the printer, the rustle of packages, the chatter of new customers. When Mr. Khan visited, he looked around proudly. You've done it, he said. Not done, I corrected. Just starting again? He smiled. Then keep starting one day at a time. As I locked the shop that night, I whispered into the quiet street, Daniel, if only you could see. Not to gloat, not to prove you wrong, just so you'd know what we might have shared. The ache stayed, but so did the spark. And for the first time in years, the spark burned brighter than the pain. Maya, look at this, I said, holding the phone awkwardly. Another 10 online orders overnight. She clapped her hands. See? I told you, your products are finally reaching people outside the neighborhood. I chuckled. I used to think the shop ended at these 4 walls. Now, people from cities I've never visited know my name. They don't just know your name, she said proudly. They trust it. Mr. Khan entered slowly, cane tapping against the floor. Trust is worth more than money, he remarked, but money doesn't hurt either. I laughed. True enough. He glanced around at the new shelves, the bright lights. This place looks alive again. Maya grinned. We've been working day and night. He refuses to rest. I can't rest, I admitted. The shop is rising, and I need to rise with it. Mr. Khan frowned. But don't let success bury you. Even strong trees fall if they grow too fast. I nodded, though my body already felt the weight of long hours. Still, seeing new faces each day filled me with a stubborn joy. One afternoon, a young man walked in with a camera. From a business magazine. Mind if I feature your shop? I blinked. A magazine. Why me? Because people love stories of survival, he explained. You kept this shop alive when everyone thought it would die. That's newsworthy. Maya nudged me. Say yes. I hesitated, then smiled. All right, but don't make me sound like a hero. I'm just working. He snapped photos, asking questions while customers browsed. I answered as best I could, though inside I marveled that anyone cared. That evening, Maya teased me. You'll be on magazine covers soon. I groaned. All I want is enough sales to pay bills on time. But don't you feel proud? She pressed. I paused. Yes, I feel proud. For the first time in a long time. The next week, sales tripled. Online orders stacked higher than the shelves. Local schools asked me to sponsor events, something I hadn't done in years. You're becoming a community name again, Maya said as we loaded boxers into a van. I never stopped being here, I replied. People just stopped looking. Now they're looking again. Rumors spread quickly, neighbors whispered, but this time with respect. Did you hear? His shop is booming. They say he sells online now. Smart move. Instead of shame, I felt warmth in their words. Still, I couldn't ignore the ache inside when I overheard another rumor. Daniel and Sophie. Things aren't going well for them. I pretended not to listen, but the sentence followed me all day. That night, Maya noticed my silence. You heard something, didn't you? I sighed. They say Daniel struggles. Sophie spends more than he earns. Does it make you happy? She asked carefully. I shook my head. No. Success feels emptier when I know he could have shared it. We could have built this together. She rested her hand on mine. You can't change his choice. You can only keep building yours. Her words grounded me. I turned back to the packages and said, then let's keep building. By month's end, we celebrated with a small cake. To the shop, Maya said, raising her fork. To survival, I added. She smiled. No! To growth. Mr. Khan, sitting nearby, lifted his tea, and 2 second chances. I looked around at the shelves, glowing under new lights, the hum of machines printing labels, the chatter of customers outside. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was drowning. I felt like I was climbing. Later, as I locked the door, I whispered into the night, I'm still here, Daniel, not broken, not defeated. Still rising. The ache lingered, but alongside it, pride. Maya, can you believe this? I said, waving the newspaper. They called us a local success story. She leaned over the counter, grinning. You deserve it. The article brought so many new customers. Even suppliers are calling now. I nodded slowly. It feels strange. For years, I begged people to notice. Now I can barely keep up. That's what happens when you don't give up, she said. Mr. Khan entered, cane tapping against the floor. What's all this noise about? We've been written up, I told him. The journalists made us sound bigger than we are. He chuckled. Sometimes the story is larger than the man. But that's what inspires people. I smiled faintly. Inspiration doesn't pay the bills, but it does keep me moving. For weeks, the shop buzzed with energy. Investors? Called distributors. Visited, and for the first time, I felt less like a shopkeeper and more like the head of something larger. Yet in the quiet moments, Daniel's face haunted me. One afternoon, 2 neighbors whispered outside. Have you heard about him? One said, yes, Daniel and Sophie. Terrible mess. I froze, broom in hand. They say she spent everything. He can't cover the debts. And now she blames him. I swallowed hard, forcing myself back to work. But the words echoed in my chest. That night, Maya noticed my silence. You heard something, didn't you? Yes, I admitted. They say Daniel and Sophie are drowning. Her voice softened. Do you want them to fall? No, I whispered. I only wish he'd stayed. We could have built something together. Now he has nothing. She touched my arm gently. And you have something again? Don't let his fall steal that from you. I nodded, though my heart twisted. Days later, a knock came at my door late in the evening. I opened it, and there he stood, Daniel. His eyes were hollow, his shoulders sagging. Dad, he whispered. I froze, my breath catching. Daniel. He stepped inside slowly, avoiding my gaze. She's gone. Sophie left me. The words hit me harder than I expected. Gone. What do you mean gone? She emptied most of my savings, took her things, and left. No goodbye. Nothing. His voice cracked. I should have listened. I stared at him, torn between anger and pity. Listened when I told you this shop could be ours? When I begged you not to cut me off? He lowered his head. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought she cared? She cared for herself, I said bitterly. I know that now, he whispered. Silence hung heavy. My heart ached, but the wound of betrayal still burned. Do you expect me to forgive easily? He looked up, eyes glistening. No, I just didn't know where else to go. I turned away, my hands trembling. You left me, Daniel. You told me I wasn't needed. Do you remember those words? Tears streaked his face. I remember, and I regret them every second. I closed my eyes, pain flooding me. You broke me, son, and some breaks don't heal. I'm sorry, he whispered. I don't want money. I don't want the shop. I just wanted to see you. My throat tightened. I wanted to embrace him, but something inside resisted. Instead, I walked to the stove. Sit, eat. That much I can offer. He sat quietly while I placed bread and stew on the table. Thank you, he said softly. I sat across from him, studying his tired face. He was older now, but so much like the boy I remembered. You see now the cost of betrayal, I murmured. He nodded, tears dropping into his bowl. I see it, and I'll carry it forever. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Only the clinking of spoons filled the silence. When he finally rose to leave, he whispered, I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'll keep hoping for it. I didn't answer. I only watched as he walked into the night, leaving the door open behind him. Alone again, I whispered to myself, hope once broke me. I won't let it break me twice. But even as I said it, a small part of me still hoped. Maya, I said, staring at the stack of papers on my desk, do you realize what this means? She leaned over, scanning the contract. It means you've made it a distributor this big. This isn't just survival anymore. This is history. I let out a slow breath. I thought I'd never see a day like this. Mr. Khan, sitting in the corner with his tea, chuckled. You didn't just see IT built it. Brick by brick, hour by hour. Don't you forget that. I smiled faintly. Sometimes I still feel like the man sweeping floors, waiting for customers who never came. Those days gave you steel, Maya said. Now you get to use it. The pen trembled in my hand as I signed. There, it's done. She clapped. Congratulations, boss. Your shop is about to explode. I only hope I can handle it, I murmured. Of course you can, she said firmly. You've handled worse. Money began to flow faster than I could imagine. Orders doubled, then tripled. I reinvested, hired staff, and soon the shop could no longer contain what we'd built. Success poured in, but with it came a strange emptiness. One evening, I looked around the small apartment I had lived in for years. This place feels like a shell now, I whispered. Maya tilted her head. You've outgrown it. Maybe it's time for something bigger? Bigger? I repeated, almost laughing. I never even thought beyond keeping the lights on. Then think now, she urged. You deserve a home, not just a roof. Her words stayed with me. Weeks later, I stood before a sprawling mansion, its tall windows glowing under the evening sun. Are you sure about this? I asked myself. The agent beside me smiled. It's more than a house. It's a statement. I shook my head. I don't want a statement. I just want to feel alive again. When I stepped inside, the echo of my footsteps filled the vast hall. Marble floors, high ceilings, wide staircases. It felt unreal. Maya whispered, "It suits you." Not sure I suit it, I replied. You worked for this, she said. It's not showing off, it's finally breathing. I signed the deed that night. The mansion was mine. Walking through its endless halls, I ran my hand along the walls. A house full of silence, I murmured. Even larger silences than before. Maya followed quietly. It won't stay silent. You'll fill it with people, with life. I stopped before a wide window overlooking the garden. I wish Daniel could see this. I wish she'd stood with me to build it. Her eyes softened. Do you still hope for him? I shook my head slowly. Hope once broke me. Now I only carry memory. Still, the irony cut deep. The very people who had cut me off now heard rumors of my success. Neighbors stopped me in the market with wide eyes. Is it true you bought a mansion? Yes, I would answer simply. Who would have thought? From that tiny shop to this, I always smiled politely, but inside the ache remained. One night, I wandered through the empty rooms, my footsteps echoing. I paused at the grand staircase, staring up at the chandelier. This isn't for pride, I whispered aloud. This is for survival, for proof that I wasn't finished when they left me. But the words felt hollow. What I wanted was not chandeliers or marble, but the laughter of my son. In the dining room, I laid my hand on the long polished table. If only you were here, Daniel. If only you had believed. Silent answered me, vast and cold. Later, Maya found me sitting in the study. Boss, she said gently, you can be proud without being lonely. I looked at her and forced a smile. Maybe. But pride doesn't warm the nights. Then fill this house with purpose, she urged. With work, with people, with kindness. That's how it becomes alive, I nodded, though the ache inside refused to fade. Yes, alive. That's what I want. As the night deepened, the knock came late, heavy and uncertain. I hesitated before opening the door. Daniel stood there, pale and hollow-eyed. Dad, he whispered, voice breaking. I gripped the frame. What are you doing here? Please, he begged. I had nowhere else to go. My chest tightened. You made your choice. Daniel, I know, he said quickly, tears already spilling. I was wrong. I let her Sophie poison me against you. And I followed God. I followed blindly. I stared at him, my throat dry. Why now? She left me, he choked, took the money, the apartment, everything. I tried to keep up with her, but I couldn't. I lost it all, and when I looked around, you were the only one left. The words pierced me. So you return only when the world empties. He shook his head desperately. No! I return because I finally see what I did. I betrayed you. I betrayed myself, and I hate myself for it. I swallowed hard. Do you think words erase the nights I sat alone, wondering if my own son had ever loved me? I did love you, he cried, voice raw. I just got I was weak. I wanted her approval more than your trust. I thought I was building a life, but I was destroying one. My hands trembled. Do you know how it felt to hear the whispers? To see you walk past me as though I were nothing. He collapsed to his knees. I know, and I can't take it back. But I'm begging you help me. Just let me try again. I looked down at him, broken and trembling. Anger surged, but so did sorrow. I'm your father, I said slowly. That doesn't change. But trust isn't a door you can knock on and enter at will. It was shattered, and shattered things don't mend overnight. His sobs shook the room. I'll wait. I'll do anything. I just can't lose you forever. I turned away, pressing a hand to my chest. The pain was sharp, almost unbearable. You already lost me once, Daniel, and it nearly killed me. I know, he whispered. I see it in your eyes. I destroyed something precious. You destroyed us, I said bitterly. You chose her, and you left me bleeding. He wiped his face with shaking hands, and now she's gone. She took everything, but I'd give it all up again, just to undo this, to have one chance at being your son again. I closed my eyes. Silence filled the space, heavy as stone. Finally, I spoke. You will always be my son. Nothing can take that. But don't ask me to forget so quickly. Forgiveness may come, but it will crawl, not run. He nodded violently. I'll take it. Even a crawl is better than nothing. I sighed, the weight pressing me down. Stay tonight. The guest room is yours, but don't mistake my pity for full acceptance. His eyes widened with relief. Thank you. Thank you, Dad? The word cut me so familiar, yet so foreign. Evers, I said quietly, heading to the kitchen. You look like you haven't had a meal in days. I haven't, he admitted. I couldn't afford much. I sold my watch to get here. I set a plate before him. Eat, talk later. He ate with shaking hands, tears falling onto the food. Between bites, he whispered, I never deserved you. You're right, I muttered, but I never stopped wanting you. His gaze lifted, full of pain. Will you ever trust me again? I paused. That depends on you, on whether you build instead of destroy this time. I'll prove it, he promised, even if it takes the rest of my life. We sat in silence, the distance thick. He was here, under my roof again, but a chasm ran between us. As the night grew late, I led him to the guest room. Good night, Daniel, I said. Good night, Dad, he whispered, voice breaking. I closed the door softly. Alone in the hallway, I pressed my back to the wall. He had returned, but between us lay years of betrayal, carved into my soul like stone. I walked slowly through the garden, the evening breeze brushing against my face. The mansion was alive now. Laughter from Maya in the kitchen, Mr. Khan's voice carrying from the study, the hum of friends who had stayed loyal. Daniel's footsteps approached. Beautiful night, he said quietly. It is, I replied, my eyes on the roses. Peaceful. He hesitated. I still don't understand how you do it. how you move on without shouting, without punishing those who wronged you. I turned to him. Why waste energy on revenge? Life does its own work. His shoulders sank. Sophie, I hear her name sometimes, whispered like a warning. She's nothing now. People cross the street when they see her. I studied his face. And does that bring you comfort? He shook his head. No, just shame that I ever thought she was worth losing you. I breathed deeply. Shame is heavy, but it can teach. He looked at me. Do you ever wish she'd apologize? No, I said firmly. Apologi sudan ti rebuild what they destroy. Silence already speaks enough. He sat on the bench beside me. Every time I come here, I wonder why you let me in. After everything. Because you're my son, I answered. That bond doesn't vanish. But it changes. Trust is slower than forgiveness. Daniel, you're learning that. He nodded, voice breaking. I am. And I hate the silence between us sometimes. But maybe it's fair. Maybe it's what I deserve. I rested my hand on the bench. Silence isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's peace. He swallowed. When people talk about you, now the success, the mansion, the contracts, they speak with respect. I hear it everywhere. And when they speak of me, they just shake their heads. That's the way of things. I said, we live with the choices we made. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Do you think I'll ever be free of her shadow? You already are, I told him. The only shadow left is the one you keep carrying. He blinked, tears forming. I still hear her voice telling me you were small, stuck in the past. And I see now you weren't small. You were strong. Stronger than me. I exhaled slowly. Strength is surviving without letting bitterness rot you. That's all I ever did. From inside, Maya called. Dinner will be ready soon. I answered back. We'll be there. Danielu smiled faintly. She cares for you. She does, I said. And I let her. That was something I had to learn too. Let people in without fear. He was quiet for a moment. Do you think I'll find that again? Someone who stays. I studied him. His tired eyes, his voice stripped of arrogance. If you stop chasing approval and start building trust, yes. But not if you repeat the past. He rubbed his hands together. I won't. I can't. The garden lights flickered on, casting soft glows across the path. Do you know what I realized, Daniel? I said, what? I already won. Not by riches, not by the house, by breathing, by standing, by refusing to crumble. That's victory enough. He looked at me, stunned. Even after all I cost you, especially after that, I replied, pain didn't kill me. Silence healed me. He dropped his gaze. And me? That's your journey, I said softly. I can't walk it for you, but you're welcome here while you try. His lips trembled. Thank you. We sat in silence. For once, it wasn't heavy. It was steady, like the earth beneath us. From the distance, Mr. Khan appeared at the doorway. Are you two joining us? Or should we eat everything ourselves? I laughed. We're coming. Daniel rose with me. Slower, humbled Dot. As we walked toward the mansion, he whispered, You're right? Silence says more than shouting ever could. I placed a hand on his shoulder,